Thank you very much. I appreciate your kindness very much. When the invitation came to me, it sounded as if the Library of Congress was going to celebrate my birthday. And I said, do they do that normally? You see, so anyway, it seems they do, and I've seen a large number of organizations that have co-sponsored my visit, and I deeply appreciate this. All I've been asked to do in return is to read to you. And I hope, it's simply a token. The reading is simply a token of my appreciation. It doesn't pay for it. Yeah. And since it's Things Fall Apart, we are celebrating and talking about, let me read you a short piece from that book. But I should tell you that I've written other books as well. Though we may not be talking about them tonight. Now, this passage, I would say it's one of my favorite passages in the book. Now and again, when you pick up a book you've had for years, I don't know whether this happens to other people, but it happens to me. Sometimes you find something you'd not seen before. And in the case of a book that has been knocking around for 50 years, that is really a surprise. And it's one of the mysteries, I think, of literature, of art in general. This is one such passage which I found. Well, I won't tell you what it is because it's difficult to tell other people. But I suddenly realized that this passage has a meaning which I had not thought about. Now, I must also, by the way, before I begin, I must thank many of my colleagues who've come from different parts of the United States and maybe even beyond to attend this event. Real stars in the literary and scholarly profession who honored me, a great thing in my view for when people you might call your peers, instead of being jealous of you or being unhappy about you, when your peers suddenly show great affection by saying thank you to you, it's an amazing blessing. And so I say thank you very much. Now, I hope you have read Things Fall Apart, but if you haven't, there's still time. before, because this is not at the very beginning, it is towards about the middle. So yes, yeah. Okay. Now, the story of Things Fall Apart is a story of a strong man. That's how one of the publishers described it when it came out in 1958. Some people have called him a hero. There's still a lot of discussion about him. He certainly was a hero in my view, a hero of his people. He was defending the rights of his people, or he thought. He was not a perfect hero. Well, no hero seems to be perfect. It seems heroes have a problem quite often, which creates an interesting situation for the writer, because here is a man who is honored by his community, and yet there is this flaw that he doesn't seem to be able to get beyond, and it's the flaw of single-mindedness. And so you deal with it as a writer. It's a very fascinating process. This human being, and he has to be human. There's no point writing about a hero who is an angel. That's not of any value to us, because we're not angels. But we can recognize a hero who has a flaw. And unless we are very, very stupid, we know we have flaws, you see. So that's one reason why it's attractive to artists to create characters like Okonkwo. Now, I won't say too much more, except that at this point in the story, Okonkwo has committed what is considered a very big offense in his community. He has killed a member of the clan by accident. And because it's by accident, his punishment is reduced to exile for 7 years. If it weren't, it would have been for life. Now, Okonkwo is a very ambitious man, and he's very much disturbed by this turn in his life. And he goes into exile to his mother's clan. And he's living there now, but he is so depressed that his uncle, his mother's younger brother, who is now Okonkwo's host, looks at his nephew and is disturbed, is troubled, because he sees depression and perhaps worse. And so he decides to do something about it, to do something to get Okonkwo out of his state of mind. And that's the piece I'm going to read now. Okonkwo and his family I'm sorry, I begin again. Okonkwo and his family worked very hard to plant a new farm. But it was like beginning life anew without the vigor and enthusiasm of youth, like learning to become left-handed in old age. Work no longer had for him the pleasure it used to have. And when there was no work to do, he sat in a silent half-sleep. His life had been ruled by a great passion to become one of the lords of the clan. That had been his life spring, and he had all but achieved it. Then everything had been broken. He had been cast out of his clan, like a fish onto a dry, sandy beach, panting. Clearly, his personal god, or chi, was not made for great things. A man could not rise beyond the destiny of his chi. The saying of the elders was not true, that if a man said yeah, his chi also affirmed. Here was a man who said yes. Here was a man whose chi had said no, despite his own affirmation. The old man, Uchendu, saw clearly that Okonkwo had yielded to despair, and he was greatly troubled. He would speak with him after the Isaifi ceremony. On the second day, Uchendu called together his sons and daughters and his nephew, Okonkwo. The men brought their goatskin mats with which they sat on the floor, and the women sat on a sisal mat spread on a raised bank of earth. Uchendu pulled gently at his gray beard and gnashed his teeth. Then he began to speak, quietly and deliberately, picking his words with great care. It is Okonkwo that I primarily wish to speak to, he began. But I want all of you to note what I'm going to say. I'm an old man, and you are all children. I know more about the world than any of you. If there's anyone among you who thinks he knows more, let him speak up. He paused, but no one spoke. Why is Okonkwo with us today? This is not his clan. We are only his mother's kinsmen. He does not belong here. He's an exile, condemned for 7 years to live in a strange land. And so he is bowed with grief. But there is one question I would like to ask him. Can you tell me, Okonkwo, why it is that one of the commonest names we give our children is Neka, or Mother is Supreme? We all know that a man is the head of the family, and his wives do his bidding. A child belongs to its father and his family, not to his mother and her family. A man belongs to his fatherland, not his motherland. And yet, we say Neka, mother is supreme. Why is that? There was silence. I want Okonkwo to answer me, said Uchendo. I do not know the answer, Okonkwo replied. You do not know the answer? So you see, you are a child. You have many wives and many children, more children than I have. You are a great man in your clan, but you are still a child. My child. Listen to me and I shall tell you. But first, there's one more question I shall ask you. Why is it that when a woman dies, she is taken home to be buried with her own kinsmen? She's not buried with her husband's kinsmen. Why is that? Your mother was brought home to me here and buried with my people. Why was that? Okonkwo shook his head. He does not know that either, said Uchendo. And yet, he is full of sorrow because he has come to live in his motherland for a few years. He laughed a mirthless laughter and turned to his sons and daughters. What about you? Can anyone answer the question? They all shook their heads. Then listen to me, he said, and cleared his throat. It's true that a child belongs to his father. But when a father beats his child, it seeks sympathy in its mother's heart. A man belongs to his fatherland when things are good and life is sweet. But when there is sorrow and bitterness, he finds refuge in his motherland. Your mother is there to protect you. She is buried there. And that is why we say that mother is supreme. Is it right that you, Okonkwo, should bring to your mother a heavy face and refuse to be comforted? Be careful, or you may displease the dead. Your duty is to comfort your wives and children and take them back to your fatherland after 7 years. But if you allow sorrow to weigh you down and kill you, they will all die in exile. He paused for a long while. These are now your kinsmen. He waved at his sons and daughters. You think you are the greatest sufferer in the world? Do you know that men are sometimes banished for life? Do you know that men sometimes lose all their yams and even their children? I had 6 wives once. I have none now, except that young girl who doesn't know her right from her left. Do you know how many children I have buried? Children I begot in my youth and strength? 22. I did not hang myself, and I am still alive. If you think you are the greatest sufferer in the world. Ask my daughter, Akweni, how many twins she has born and thrown away. Have you not heard the song they sing when a woman dies? For whom is it well? For whom is it well? There is no one for whom it is well. Omakalonye, omakalonye, onwelonyo dilema. I have no more to say to you.